Hi guys, welcome back. So in the last video I talked you through some of the thought process that I had in terms of selection of t-shirt and design for my next clothing brand drop. In this video I thought it'd be really interesting to take you through the next steps towards getting the product loaded and finished, ready for sale on the website. So I'll talk you through the steps in terms of finalization of the design, how I take that design and convert that to a finished screen through which I can screen print the design onto one of these two t-shirts. So you'll see me screen printing the design downstairs in the single car garage that I've converted specifically for screen printing my own clothing brand. We'll bring the design and the t-shirt back upstairs and you can see how I use this space, which is a spare bedroom, an office for completing all the photography. We'll get the product loaded onto the website and you can see exactly what it takes to get a product live. I think you'll really enjoy it, so let's get into it. So just looking at the finalized design then, I've made a slight tweak to it versus the last video. I've just inverted some of the colors in the wheel that I'm going to use as a crest design just to make it a little bit more bold and more realistic to what a actual wheel, cycling wheel looks like. So we've got the line Choose Cycling and we've got the VÉLOKInd.cc running underneath it. So it's ready to print. I'm going to print that now onto a film positive, which you'll see me transfer downstairs onto a screen. We'll wash that screen out. It will create a stencil through which we can print the design onto the t-shirt. So let's get into it. Okay, so we're out in the screen printing studio, formerly my single car garage, which I've converted for my clothing brand. So I'll quickly show you around. We've got the printing press there, which is a Riley Hopkins Jr. 4x4 press. Bike on the wall, obviously it's a cycling brand that I print for. Little table unit there for t-shirts. Econo Red Vastex conveyor dryer. Exposure unit on a table. There's a purpose-built screen drying cabinet in the corner, hopefully you can see that. TV, which very rarely gets used actually, and there's some tunage down there. As you'll see, it's all blacked out in here. There is a little bit of light creeping around from under the garage doors and around the window, but you'll see that we're operating in a UV light-free zone, and that's because we've got unexposed screens that I need to protect from UV light. So I've got two yellow lights, one up there, and then I've got one in here in like the sort of preparation, dirty area. So we've got washout booth, filtration unit, and then a sink and all my inks and so on there. So without further ado, let's get this screen exposed. Now, because I've not got a vacuum suction to press the design against the screen, I use a 10-kilo bucket of paint. It actually works a treat. So we've got that set for 8 minutes 25 seconds. For anybody that's interested, this is a 196 mesh screen. Let's expose it. So I hope you enjoyed seeing me print the t-shirt downstairs in the print studio. Let me know what you think. I applied 3 prints. So there's a branded neck print, which is printed on white onto a soft grey, so it's not very visible, but it does look nice close up. Then there's a left crest print and a sleeve print as well, the VÉLOKInd logo, which I put onto all of my t-shirts. So there are 2 things that I need to do before I can get the product loaded onto the Shopify website, the first of which is to sew on a custom woven label to the bottom hem, which you'll see me do now, and then I've got to iron the thing before we photograph it. So fun and games, let's get on with that now. For consistency, I measure the distance in from the side seam as a business card, so that just allows me to make sure that I'm in the right position for all of my t-shirts. So we've got that in position, and then we're ready to sew that on. Okay, you can see that. So we're ready to iron the t-shirt. One little job that I will do, just so you can see that, is I'll remove the internal label from the t-shirt. So this particular t-shirt comes with a little size label in the neck there, which I remove, and I print the size as part of the neck label. Because I'm printing all the necessary sort of legal information on the neck print, it means I can remove this side label quite easily. So when you're looking for your blank t-shirts for your own clothing brand, try look out for designs or brands that have easy remove labels, because some are quite difficult to get out. And if you are wanting to sort of really sort of make the brand your own, which is what I've done with this, obviously there are no labels on this now, so as far as the customer is concerned, I could have manufactured this t-shirt myself. So just something to bear in mind. Let's get on to ironing it. I do iron everything inside out, just in case there is any sort of leak from the iron. It's probably not the best iron, but you know what irons are like. You probably get about 6 months use out of them before they're knackered. So yeah, iron it inside out, and then obviously the recommendation is to not iron on any of the prints anyway, even though these are screen prints and they will hold up to being ironed more so than a heat transfer. It's not recommended, so let's get on with it. Okay, so with your product photography, I think you've got broadly two options. You can use the manufacturer's mock-up images and then overlay your artwork onto that, or you can photograph the products yourself. Now, I've got my own particular way of doing it, which I'll talk you through now. The alternative way of doing it is doing like an overhead shoot, which I've done as well. So you lay the product on the ground and shoot from above. So there's merits in both, but this is the way that I like to do it. So when you're tight for space, this is the first thing that I'd recommend. Get yourself a very cheap curtain pole, attach it to the wall and thread it through a white roll. So I can bring this roll up and down as I choose, and I've got a perfectly white background. The second thing that I do is I shoot against this, and you might not be able to see it on the camera, you probably won't, but there's a transparent fishing line here which I attach my bespoke engraved hanger to, and when I shoot that, it just looks like it's floating in space. So I really hope you've enjoyed that. If you have, let me know in the comments below. I'd love to hear what you think. I've really enjoyed making the video, and in particular looking back as part of the editing process to see just how far I've come really since I first had the idea to not only launch my own clothing brand but to screen print for it as well. It's evidence, isn't it, that if you want to do something similar, then it's absolutely possible if you make a plan and you put your mind to it and you remain resilient throughout. So if you're interested in more, check out this video here. It's a 10-step guide to starting your own clothing brand. I look forward to seeing you in that video and in future videos to come.